we was talking about a really cool topic. I kind of want to revisit right before we hit the record button on this episode. And we were talking about hip hop. We know we love our hip hop era. Talking about some of them songs that just made you want it, like that just kind of like, yo, ooh, what's that? You mentioned Method Man, Bring the Pain.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Hit 'em High joint. We talking about Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
And just how that whole moment was elevators, Outkast, make people want to try to remember rhymes and beat on the table, get the, you know what I'm saying, put your hands where my eyes can see, and just, you know what I'm saying, beat on the lunch table. It was that's a cool moment for hip hop. And hip hop, I felt like was in the right direction. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It just the vibe of it, the mystique of it was different. The mystique of it was different. And this morning I was watching some of these hip hop artists up today, and here I come sounding old. Man, that mystique is gone, man. That mystique is gone. I don't see where there are like what makes somebody clamor to, like, what beats are people beating on the table in the lunchroom in 2024? I gotta ask my son this. My son's in high school, and I want to know, what are people beating on their tables to? What songs now? Not old songs. Not saying they beating the old Timberland joint, you know what I'm saying, from 1996 or whatever. What are they beating on the tables nowadays?
I don't know. Hard to beat them triplets in there, man. Some of that stuff is hard timing to keep up with.
Things are off beat. The beat, like it's all like they're all about this whole little, like the song vibe. Like the lyrics don't matter as much, right? You want to say like a couple quotable things that just stand out. You might have a bunch of nothing, and then you got two lines that, ooh, that said something to me, and that was a bar. They try sneaking a bar every now and then. Be a whole bunch of nothing, then a bar. Ooh, he said something, and then the beats don't bang like they used to.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is that makes a moment on social media. That's the moment everybody do their videos to, that one moment that you pointed out.
Little 15,
and if you listen to the actual song, you be like, ooh, that song really took a turn for the worse after that moment. Or before building up to that moment, how did you even listen to it long enough to discover that moment existed? Because it was really bad up until that moment.
You know,
and then
what?
It got good and went bad.
That's exactly what songs are now. Like, that's how I hear them. Like, they do a song to find a moment. Like, they'll create a song, and as long as they put a moment in there, the whole song could be trashed. Everything else could be terrible or mid or whatever you want to call it. But as long as they find that one spot, that one sweet spot that catches somebody, and that's what they anchor their whole careers off of.
Yeah.
What can I get there? So this is the new hook. That's the new hook. The hooks ain't the hook no more. Them little moments that they can put into a TikTok video, that's the hook now. That's the hook.
Straight up. That's the hook now. And a lot of times you can't even find the hook anyway, because I'll tell you, I don't know if you noticed this about the songs, but they will go, the verse will be really short. So let's say the verse is 8 bars instead of, they used to be 16 in our day. They'll be 8, then they'll do like a pre-chorus or something like that. Then they'll go into the hook. All of this will sound like just one long verse until you hear the pre-chorus come back again after 8 bars. And then you realize, oh, that was a verse that just zoomed by again. It seemed like just one long continuous song. Like,
because that used to be what our vent was, or our bridge was. Like their bridges are their verses, and their vamps are their hooks. And then it's like that's song structure is definitely gotten weird for me now. Like I've been trying my best to study it, because I want to find that fine line between like the new and the old or whatever, and kind of find a way to bring it together. Got to stay relevant in a sense when it comes to how you approach music. But man, it's a wild world.
It's weird because they don't know what they're doing. And let's just say it. They don't know what they're doing, but they're teaching one another how to go about it. You know what I'm saying? So like, and it's not a bad thing, but they just not studied on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds like I'm hating because I say they don't know what they're doing, but they just haven't learned. You know what I'm saying? They're making it up as they go, and they're creating this whole new wave, but at the same time, it's not correct. You know what I'm saying? By the book. It's not by the book correct. We talk about it with basketball. The kids haven't been taught how to play the game. So they're doing it and it's fine, but it's not what you would consider high IQ basketball when you watch it. And it's the same with the song structures and stuff. They're not going to school for this stuff. They're going on YouTube and following somebody that figured out what they figured out and they teaching them.
Yeah, they figured out how to get they figured out how to get 1 million views. So I'm gonna emulate them because they got 1 million views. It's gonna get me 1 million views, and it just becomes a whole emulation process.
Yes, emulation versus in the past, we were emulating people who were studied on stuff like that. So, gospel music emulated jazz and hip and R&B emulated gospel music because most of the R&B singers are right out of church, and then hip hop emulated the R&B. So it's all coming from jazz essentially, which is this high level music that's very difficult for the average person to even wrap their mind around doing. You know what I'm saying? So versus now it's evolved into, it's just slowly getting watered down each time somebody else
and the fact that you have access to do it without even having to be vetted, right? In order to get to a studio to create music, you had to go through a process of being vetted as a musician or a writer or a singer to even get invited into a studio to even create something.
Great point. You couldn't be not know what you're doing to end up in a studio. You weren't going to get studio time like that. So it was a process. Now you got your own home studio. You got anybody will let you in the studio if you got money. You know what I'm saying? It's no vetting. It's no making sure that you actually deserve to be here. You're not wasting my time in here today. Ain't none of that. They'll sit there and let you waste their time. Give me my money. Get out. Go your record.
You know what? I mean, I believe I was that guy too. Hey, you gonna pay me for studio time? I don't care if you suck. All right, let's go. You want to make the song? I'll make. Hey, you want to beat? I got you. I got a beat for you. I got some studio time for you. You going? All right. You got the cash though. All right. Okay. We cool.
You to blame for this.
I feel like I was at the genesis of that whole thing, because as far as I know, it wasn't too many people back in 20 years ago who had home studios. I had the capabilities early on.
You were early in the game.
I was letting people in that shouldn't have been in my studio.
Yeah, you sure were. You sure were. I'd name drop if I didn't think they might not see this.
I almost said a couple names, but I ain't gonna do it.
Oh man.
Yeah, somebody gonna get mad at me anyway. But man, I want to be a fly on the wall in these high school lunchrooms, because you brought me back to a place of nostalgia, and it's just like, man, I remember them lunchrooms used to be on. Man, we used to be on in the lunchrooms. You talking about beating on the tables, and I would come in with a couple verses, and somebody else drop a couple verses that they wrote at home. We used to go home and try to write these verses because we want, hey, next lunchroom that's popping, I gotta be ready to go.
Yeah, you wanted to know the verses. You wanted to be able to have the hot drum patterns on the tables, banging on the tables, and the dudes that knew how to freestyle, they would get in there and they would battle. Like, the lunchroom used to be lit like that, Say my name in the middle of the freestyle. You know what I'm saying? It was all that kind of stuff. Put me in your bar. Boom, and they just add you in and keep going. Like it was a different time frame, man. Like
how are lunchrooms now in 2024? I gotta ask my son. I gotta have this.
Everybody on their phone. You know what it is. I'm eating Takis, eating pajama bottoms,
pajama bottoms and hoodies.
Yeah, and hoodies. That's what it's like. I know where I'm going.